A few things to clear up at the start. First, it's fRoots, not fRoots, because it's a British magazine about folk roots, not fruit. Second, its founder Ian Anderson is not, as he puts it, the one-legged flute player from Jethro Tull. Finally, nobody wants to contemplate what life would be like if fRoots and its previous incarnations, folk roots and southern rag, had not existed for over 40 years as British folk's chief griot, trend spotter, traditionalist, moral compass, occasional scold, champion of the undiscovered and forgotten, guardian angel, and loving, if sometimes cranky, babysitter. British folk legend Martin Carthy says the roots world wouldn't be such an interesting place if fRoots didn't exist. It opens people's eyes to all sorts of things they might not have imagined had anything to do with them. Tradition isn't easy. It's a complex and growing thing, a process. And a process needs feeding. fRoots does that. Simply leafing through the quarterly is exciting. It's weighty, colorful, urgent, brimming with energy, breathlessly stuffed with names, shows, photos, reviews, interviews, listings, music, downloads, and newsy bits connecting genre to genre, old to young, culture to culture, tradition to tradition. Katie Spicer of the venerable English Folk Dance and Song Society said, fRoots remains at the heart of the British folk world, the sounding board you go to for who's on the up, who's touring where, the next hot thing in the UK and around the world. Billy Bragg said fRoots proves that Englishness and multiculturalism do go together, and manager mogul Joe Boyd said, I doubt if the huge audience that now exists for world and roots music would be there if it weren't for fRoots. To founder Ian Anderson, it's quite simple. Our motto, he says, is invitation to enthusiasm. That's what we do. Like much of the 60s revival in Britain, Anderson was first drawn to American roots music, particularly blues, and has, in his words, been getting more English ever since. His early heroes were American John Kerner and British blues icon Alexis Corner. Alexis gave a leg up to everybody, Anderson says. He was a musician, but also an activist. He, more than anyone, was my mentor. That combination of playing, writing, putting people together, enthusing things, musical, social engineering. Anderson is a remarkably prolific musician, writer, editor, radio host, label owner, event promoter, photographer, designer, and he served on Arts Council and Folk Society boards, which he describes as paying my debt to society. He finds value in all those hats. I can see different sides to so many different fences, he told interviewer John Wilkinson. When artists are whining on about festivals or record companies, or when they're whining about artists, I can say, yeah, but I see everybody's point of view. While building a performing career, Anderson began writing about music. He wrote well, knew his stuff, so he kept getting asked to write. And it gave him such pleasure to tell the music story, to give others a leg up. In 1979, the publisher of Folk Review offered him the magazine. He and fellow contributors examined the books and, after regaining their balance, decided a new publication would be easier, founding the local Southern Rag. By the mid-'80s, it had gone national with subscribers around the world, filling a critical void in a media landscape increasingly indifferent to folk roots and world music. They expanded, changing the name to Folk Roots. In 1999, to highlight its focus on roots music in all its forms, they changed to fRoots, following the trend of iMac and iTunes. It honestly did not occur to them that it could be read Fruits. To them, it meant accent roots. fRoots also produces concerts, helps program festivals, sponsors tours, instigated the BBC Three World Music Awards, Europe in Union concerts, Ceilidh Aid, and Roots at the Roundhouse. And it posts amazing statistics for a 21st century folk music magazine, over 40% of subscriptions going overseas, and a renewal rate over 90% in an industry where anything over 50 is considered epic. Ask the most important thing fRoots does, Martin Carthy said, it encourages the idea we're all in this together. By championing all these weirdos, it encourages all the people like us who thrive on weirdness. Spicer cited the breadth of its horizon, melding old and young, trad and modern, Brit and global. fRoots clearly says to any reader that folk and traditional music is constantly evolving, not some preserved in aspic thing. It keeps the thread going. Anderson cites his proudest moment when back-to-back issues featured superstar Robert Plant on one cover, followed by a young, virtually unknown folk singer with almost no drop in circulation. We give as much attention to things people don't know about as to the glaringly obvious, he says. Because we have a very steady, trusting readership, we can give a decent leg up to a lot of deserving performers and areas of music around the globe. He laughs softly then, more doting parent than world-weary editor. People constantly say we empty their wallets by making them buy far too many CDs and concert tickets, he says. So, job done, really. Invitation to enthusiasm.